Hi guys, this is Brian Eisenhower with Eisenhower Coaching and Consulting. I have the pleasure of having Daniel Ramsey from MyOutDesk on board with us today. Daniel, welcome, man.
Hey, thanks for being here, Brian. I'm or inviting me here. I'm excited.
Yeah, Danny and I have been talking. We work with MyOutDesk quite a bit. As many of you know, at Eisenhower Coaching, we represent a large percentage of the highest producing agents and teams in North America. And Daniel has the exact same claim to fame, don't you?
Well, yeah. So like 13 years ago, I started MyOutDesk because like you, I'm a real estate broker. I love what I'm doing and I was really active and I needed talent in my own brokerage. And we had 3 offices in Northern California and I hired a virtual assistant back in 2007 before Tim Ferriss's 4-hour work week, before all the craziness. I was like, hey, there's smart people in this world.
Yeah.
And I probably can save some money. And so literally, then we built a business out of that because a friend in Southern California, actually near you, said, hey, Daniel, could you find me a virtual assistant? And the rest is history. We've had 6,000 clients, 13 years in business, and we basically help teams get leverage.
Wow. Okay. That is very cool. I love it. Yeah. And that's what, that's worked for many of our clients. I can tell you right now, over the course and over the time and the way that you guys work, you've had the amount of experience you guys have had supporting real estate teams, with regards to their administrative personnel, or even sales personnel for that matter, has been phenomenal. What does that typically look like from your end?
Well, it's really important to understand that people come to us because they have a pain. Like there's a need or an opportunity, meaning like we had a client last week came to us because he just nailed a new home development, a couple hundred homes going in over the next couple of years. And he didn't have the administrative staff or sales staff to take advantage of that new opportunity. Other people come to us because they're not going to the gym. They're not seeing their family. They're working 7 days an hour and they just need help in their business. So those are the kind of 2 places that people come to us and we sit down with them and do a consultation. Unlike you guys, we're a one-hit wonder. We come in, we look at org chart, we look at systems, we look at what their revenue looks like and what their challenges or pain is. And then we strategically craft a talent kind of solution for them. Like you need this and it's going to look like this and it's going to take you this much time to get that person up to speed. You need to implement this. And that's basically how we help people is we come in and we get them talent quick.
Right. And I think that's the key. I mean, we at ICC have a lot of experience helping people hire and train people, right? Like that's a big part of when we're coaching large organizations or real estate teams or broker owners, which you guys service all of the above. It's not just a real estate team. It might be the owner of a brokerage. It might be, any real estate related organization would probably fit into this conversation and your service.
Well, actually, what's wild is about 4 years ago, we started branching out. We have a boat broker in Florida. We have companies up in weird, but an IT company up in Canada uses us for customer service and support. Like we have a really wide, diverse, client base, property management, mortgage, because the reality is, and this is how ridiculous I am, I'm a mortgage broker, real estate broker, and I started this and I focused on real estate teams because that's kind of my background. And then I realized, wait, mortgage people need help too. Sure. Property managers need help too. So yeah, that's what happened is we've expanded to other industries and it's been fun.
Well, there's a lot of similarities, and actually, I could, again, relate to you because the same things happen to us. I mean, we do a good job with people. Next thing you know, we have, mortgage broker clients that are needing coaching and title and escrow companies, and we certainly do a lot of broker owners in addition to real estate teams. In those scenarios, oftentimes, they need to hire.
Yep.
Because they're overloaded. They've hit pay dirt with regards to success. They've struck oil and now we're busy as heck, especially in summer months. You see this a lot, spring and summer. I'm sure you notice that there's an uptick in the busy season, what I call the harvest season. That's when everyone is very self-aware. Oh my goodness, I am hitting a ceiling. I need to bring on either personnel or more personnel.
That's right.
Or my personnel needs help. You know what I mean? Oftentimes I have, a transaction coordinator or a listing manager that needs a virtual assistant to help them.
Yeah.
Either way, the courage to hire always seems to come in the harvest season. It seems like it doesn't happen in January too often in North America. That's,
Right.
usually this is and maybe if you're in Florida or Scottsdale, Arizona, maybe they're pretty busy those times. But for the most part, that's a slower time of the year from a seasonality standpoint. So during that busy time, which it is a busy time when you and I are talking right now, that's when there's a lot of courage to get out there and hire and take the steps that these leaders need to get to that next level to both A, increase their income, and B, increase their lifestyle, their life balance, their personal time.
Yeah, one of the things that we like to say is when you get to a certain level, as you said, pay dirt, right?
Yeah.
Time becomes more valuable than money. And you want to buy some of it back, and you want to buy a little bit. The other thing is most of our clients are pretty experienced like yours. And so they've done a million listings. They've done transaction coordination. They don't want to do the admin or the paperwork or the basic marketing tasks. They want somebody else to handle that so they can focus on their best and highest use. Kind of like in real estate, we call highest use. You have that in talent. You have that in leverage too. We all have our best and highest use, right? And so we actually have a process called Grow Virtual, which I think is really important to share with your audience. Yep. And basically, we go through a process where we help teams understand what they need to do in order to actually implement virtual assistants and not screw it up, right? There's a lot of bad actors out there who are running companies out of the back of their car, and they don't talk about the systems you need. They don't talk about the culture, meshing a virtual assistant up. I've never worked remotely. I've never worked virtually. How do I do it? So we've got a guide for your audience, and we'd love to give it away if that's possible.
Yeah, no, and I think that's one thing, we can certainly do. I know we've got a pretty favorable agreement right now for all ICC clients that end up working with MyOutDesk. They get some pretty good discounts, and something we're going to continue to do, and giving out that guide. Something we can certainly do we can, depending how liberal you're getting with that, we can give that out to all of our subscribers.
I would love to. I think here's the thing. We were talking about, we're in this coronavirus times, and I don't want to date this video, but the fact is, we used to have about 3 or 4% of the US population working remotely. Now 50% is.
Absolutely.
And so when you have that kind of strategic shift, we've been doing it for 13 years. So we put together a guide that has, and we're going to give it to everybody because we think it's important for helping CEOs, leaders, and industry people like your audience. It's important for us to stay productive. It's like our civic duty. And so that's why we built this thing. And it's really a great thing, is helping people understand that all of the work doesn't have to fall on your shoulders. Like, there is a company that can serve you, help you grow your team, help you save time, and actually save money.
Yeah. And I think you're very right, because, I think we're going to see more of this moving forward, where, before it's like, what could we get away with virtually so we don't have to be places in person?
Right.
Now it's actually, the script is flipped a bit. It's, if you don't do this, you are not providing full service to your clients. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not being socially responsible. You're not keeping them safe. So now it's almost like we have to get there, which is wonderful for our industry, because now our time efficiency gets so much easier. It makes it much easier to work with people virtually. They appreciate it. And it's not like you are slighting them on customer service. Now it's like you're enhancing their customer service.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Wonderful. Yeah, It really is. It's really good for the industry. It's really good for agents. It's helping them with life balance, helping them with income efficiency, everything. And that's why I love the Grow Virtual Guide. And it to me, it's the first full framework that we can have out there to how to do this correctly. You know what I mean? We're all finding our way, and we do coach and train best practices. But the way that you've got this entire guide laid out, it's wonderful. And that's why we like to use it. You know, if you're going to do it, I have no problem. We don't have to do it.
One of the crazy things is that many agents are now, like you said, the script is flipped. It's like, what do I have to do in person? And what can I do virtually? And the reality is, in the real estate game, like 95% is virtual. I mean, if you have the right systems and processes in place, you don't have to touch or see things or be physically present other than maybe showing a property. Everything else can be done virtually. And it's just a couple tweaks for a large brokerage to really implement. One of our favorite clients, large broker here in Sacramento, when they went virtual, we gave them the guide. Here's what they saw: engagement increase. They saw the agent happiness index increase. Like, they actually surveyed the clients because they're doing everything over Zoom. They're doing everything virtually now. And their agents are happier. And that because they're having more time with their family, like you're saying. So it's been a pretty positive process going through this whole virtual world that we're in now.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable and unfortunate circumstances, but it is the push that seems like we all needed to, we always heard about how technology was going to take over and how all these tools would, know, and they got, and they got more and more prolific, but this really just made it, inundated us, which is wonderful. So there's so much more to learn there. And I do think it has done the same thing for organizational structure.
Yep.
It's really enabled organizational structure to be grown at a much more flexible rate. Okay. So, we'll back up. Like we talked about a minute ago, you hit pay dirt, it's the harvest season, you're closing, let's say 8 transactions a month, and you're still taking listings. And, oh, by the way, it's the summertime. Your family would like to see you, maybe go on a trip or a 4-day weekend or something like that. And
right.
I don't know. So you got all this compressed at the same time. It's really hard to get out there and, conduct 25 phone screening interviews and, conduct 10 in-person interviews and behaviorally assess everybody and then, make that hire. And then, oh, wait a minute, now I got to train them. So, so that gets pretty tricky.
Yeah.
Where with you guys, a lot of the laboring of getting this person up into position is much easier. You want to talk about that a little bit, how it is,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we call it 1, 2, 3. That's what my favorite line. So if you signed up today, and we'll go into like common positions that we fill in just a second. But if you signed up today, next week you'd be interviewing. The week after, you'd have somebody in your office. So 1, 2, 3, sign up, interview. By the third week, I mean, you're literally got somebody ready to work for you, ready to relieve some of that pressure. Now, go ahead.
And, I want to make sure everybody knows something. So you're not just going to give somebody to them. You enable them the opportunity to interview and choose from your personnel.
Right. In fact, we do all of the recruitment stuff up front, meaning we're doing an FBI grade background check. I mean, listen to this. Usually in the US, we do a credit check or a background check, but our check in the Philippines, which is where we operate, is an FBI grade background check. So we're checking their previous employment, we're checking their criminal history, we're making sure that this person is ready to go and is a real live talent. I mean, one of the examples, right, is we'll call their previous experience or their previous employer and say, hey, you hired this person and they were a phone prospector, right? And they were successful, right? Yes. And we confirm their previous experience so that we're not giving you somebody that's never been on the phones before and is going to try it out on your dime. That's not what we're doing. So, and we do all the kind of internet checks, camera. We want them to be able to do face-to-face interviews like you and I are talking right now, because that's how you really should be training someone. So we're doing computers, camera, verifying that they have a great spot to actually do the work. And we're just making sure that they're a real talent And then we just give you 2 or 3 people to interview. If you like them, great. If you don't, we'll go back to work and we'll find you 2 or 3 more. And we're matching people with the experience that's required for the job.
And they can also behaviorally assess them too, right? Like give them a behavioral assessment test, all of that, so that we can, like a DISC assessment or something like that, to make sure they're a job fit.
Yeah, we do those up front. So you can see their resume, the job, you can hear them do a video. We've already done all the background, and we have online training platform too. So they're getting some basic experience in the real estate world, like they're understanding what escrow and title is and what a mortgage is, all the kind of basic stuff of what real estate is. They're ready to go, and then you interview them, you select them, and then with your coach, I hope from ICC, you're going to work on a launch plan together so they're really supported in the first couple of weeks. And that's the reason we like to partner with companies like yours, because we'll go in and we'll strategically do a consultation, but then once we've done the placements, we have support on the back end, but most brokers, agents, teams need that ongoing support over time. And so for us, the success ratio is just much, much higher when somebody has somebody in their corner.
Yeah, it's still a person, right? You're not providing them with robots. So, we do need to have leadership. We do need to have a relationship, all that stuff.
Right. Well, and just a simple thing like a training program, right? And like, I know that sounds crazy, but one of the things that we're typically helping is, hey, you've got to have a communication platform. This is all in the Grow Virtual Guide. You've got to have a task management platform. You got to give them a phone. People are like, I got to give them a phone? What do you mean?
Yeah.
Simple stuff, but it's like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the 7 or 8, 10 things that you need to have in your business in order to be successful with a virtual assistant. That's our part. And then our part is to deliver against what your need is, the talent need within your business. And, we've helped a lot of people save time, save money, and grow their business.
You hit on something there I want you to flesh out even further. The different types of positions that you often fill for real estate leaders.
Yeah. One of my favorite things to do is understand what it is you're trying to buy. Are you trying to buy more time and getting rid of paperwork in your life, or are you trying to grow revenue? And so we literally break it down in those 2 worlds. Are you trying to give away of all the administrative stuff, like your marketing tasks when a new listing comes up and all of your paperwork, TC, listing coordination, marketing, like the basic, I like to say a director of traffic or a director of a project manager, but it's basically a transaction coordinator, listing coordinator, and admin, somebody who just controls your world, right? That's half of our people. So about 3,000 people in our 13 years history we've placed there. And then the other side of it is just helping them prospect, client care, customers, concierge, just taking care of people over the phone and driving revenue through new deal acquisitions.
So, for example, inside sales agent positions would fit into that latter category. So, if you have or are purchasing a lot of inbound internet leads that you cannot nurture enough, that you cannot filter through. I know a lot of our clients have looked to you guys to help with that, so that those leads aren't just falling through the cracks, or even outbound prospecting where, the leads aren't necessarily coming in, but you're having, your personnel, picking up the phone and dialing and calling out to potential lead sources like expired listings or circle prospecting or for sale by owners. And that's I would put those as, inside sales agents or ISAs as well. Very popular there. And then your first example would be your administrative side, your listing to contract people, your contract to close people. Primarily. Would you?
And I would add right now we're in a period of contracted inventory. If you gave an agent 10 houses, they'd sell them in 45 days. I mean, that's basically across the country, everywhere in the world, we're short on inventory right now.
Right.
And the simple fact is most teams and brokerages, they can't get their agents to just call the leads that they're buying. They can't, and circle prospecting around a listing, that's the number one way to get more listings. And yet some teams and some agents are simply not doing that. And so we step in and we'll help, we'll plant somebody in your office. We'll put together a plan to get them up to speed, to learn your culture, to understand your value proposition. And then, off to the races, go get those listings.
Right. Okay. Now, this is one challenge that I have seen out there.
Yep.
That I have, a lot of our clients have ran into over the years, is keeping they hire this virtual assistant. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
How they keep them busy. Like, I have my opinions. I'm curious to hear yours.
Well, I want to start with the launch and then we'll talk about maintenance, right? Because people are people, right? You got to love on your employees. You got to love on your staff so that they're loving on your clients. And that's my philosophy 100%. So a launch plan always should include, here's our culture. Here's what we do as a business. Here's all the team players on the business. Here's all of our systems. So you want to indoctrinate somebody into your company's team, like culture and environment. Once you've done that, then you focus on the outcome for the role, right? So if the outcome is, I want all of the paperwork, all of my administrative tasks taken off my plate, then it becomes very easy to make a strategic list of all the administrative stuff and then rank them in priority, right?
I love that. Yeah, I think it's great, Daniel. I mean, don't just start with the work. Like, we have got to indoctrinate this person culturally into your organization. It's hard because you're not meeting this person. So the idea that you need to pour into them a little bit, to give, to bring them, I mean, that's true with any person, whether it's virtual or in person. A good leader is going to train and go backwards with their time a little bit before they go forward. So in other words, you're going to give of your time so that we can break through and go to a higher level of production and income and life balance later. So, but just saying, hey, do this, here's how you do it, isn't the best way to start a long-term business relationship, professional relationship with somebody.
You're spot on. And what we do is we try to help somebody understand what's required in a training period, what's required for a cultural launch, what's required, that list that we're talking about. I always like to start somebody off with the most important work first and then have them master it. And we'll go, if you come in and do a consultation, we'll go through everything that you need to consider in terms of hiring virtually and what that looks like. The ISA side, the launch is a lot different than the admin side. You want to launch them into one lead source, probably your least expensive, maybe your old dead leads, and then give them the right framework to follow. And then, kind of spend some time with them, kind of tweaking that framework so they can get success. Then you add another lead source. Then you add a more valuable lead source. The two launches are similar but different. Start with the culture one at a time and really know that the investment, like you're saying, it's a 90 to 180 days to train somebody. That's what's reality.
Communicate too. Like, I think a big part of that training period over those first 3 or 4 months on the job is, again, you're going to need to put time in. So are we communicating with them regularly at the same times, on the same days, so we can all, save our questions and our feedback and some of our accountability for those periods so that we are ensuring that we're improving and not going way down the wrong path with mistakes, habits, things like that. Just like normal leadership, just because they're virtual doesn't mean we have a robot out there. And I think that's when we talk about keeping VAs busy, to me, that's user error. That's not VA error. That's because we're not leading. We've dropped the ball on leadership.
There's another piece to this, and we only have a couple minutes left, so I'm going to probably end it here. We believe in something called compound leverage, and this is probably the biggest aha moment that agents or brokers or teams have. Once you've mastered a task, you put it into a system or a process, then you delegate it to a virtual assistant. Well, you get that time back for the rest of your career. That's the reality of it. So once you have that time back, if you pour into your business to help it either expand or grow or hire more agents or get more deals, like now you've got compound leverage, which, as you know, is really a cool, powerful tool, right? The challenge is, that leverage, it takes time. Leverage is a different skill set than building revenue in a business. And most leaders, that person didn't work. I'm like, 95% of the time, it literally is the leader's work that needs to be done so the employee can be successful. And everybody says, I don't have time. I'm like, that's fine. Stay in the plateau.
Right.
Don't grow your business. Be a highly paid employee for yourself, but don't grow your business, or choose compound leverage. It will change your life.
Yeah. And and at some point it's going to take more of your time. I would always say you just have to be willing to go backwards for a very short period to be able to go much further forward for the rest of your career. Like, you know what I mean? There is a little check mark where you're going here and you're flatlining at this ceiling. But the check mark comes in where you go backwards before you go forward, break through that plateau and start operating up here.
That's right.
And that's real. But most people tend to see this part at the very beginning of going backwards. And they make a lot of terrible decisions in this little V down here before they're able to break through and finally get the return on their time investment and start moving and operating up here at this level. And we'll operate up here for a while too, until we leverage again and go up to that next level. So neat stuff. And Daniel, I really appreciate you sharing all this with our guys, because a lot of people don't realize how much you know and how much you guys can assist with personnel, your knowledge, and guidance, which bringing on the different people to fill these roles and how agents should do it is phenomenal. So they're getting that when they work with you guys, and we've appreciated that for a very long time from you.
Yeah, we'll give you a job description. We'll make sure your systems and processes are in place, and we'll help you find a talent to really get some leverage in your life. And Brian, it's been great sharing this time together. And I hope anybody who's listening, if you want to explore, just jump on our website, MyOutDesk.com. We'll go through a consultation. It costs you nothing other than your time. And you will walk away with value, even if you don't hire us. Agreed. That's our whole world. We want to give first. And if there's an opportunity that makes sense for you, then we'll work together.
Awesome. Well, Daniel, thanks again so much. Have a great day, man, and keep it going.
Thanks, Brian.